So my name is Jonnie Penn. I'm based at Berkman Klein Center at Harvard University. I'm an affiliate there and also at the University of Cambridge. And I'm working with the Center for the Future of Intelligence looking at the long-term implications, social implications of adopting emerging technologies and specifically artificial intelligence. And to be honest, I feel like a bit of a strange hen here because I'm going to talk about collective bargaining agreements at Davos. There are two major problems that I'm keen to try and address with what I'm about to tell you. The first is that we live in an era of data monopolies. The internet, that word means network of networks, and the reality is these days it's really, in the West, a network of three networks: Amazon, Facebook, and Google. Google and Facebook together have about 70% of control of global internet and command about 60% of global advertising spend, which impacts small businesses, even medium businesses, and especially young entrepreneurs that are maybe trying to get new products into the world. So this is a problem, that we have this kind of mass centralization of data. I think of it as like intelligence inequality. We know income inequality, that's an existing problem, but now we have the same dynamics, the same centralization with access and control of data. The second major problem is that the labor market is shifting, and workers around the world are losing control of basic decencies that have been hard fought for and hard earned. Basic protections about workplace safety and wage. And you can see now that in a new book by a senior researcher at Microsoft named Mary Gray, a book called Ghost Work, the trouble with automation and with artificial intelligence in particular is that it pushes more and more people into the margins by taking the sort of work that used to be done by people and reorganizing people so that workers are increasingly invisible. You may not notice, for example, the waiters in this room or the people that vacuum the floor or put these lights up on the ceiling, whose schedules are often set by automated systems that give them no control over their schedule. I can give you an example of when I left Boston one night, and the lady that checked me into my flight was upset, and I asked her what the problem was, and she said, well, I keep getting assigned to work on Sundays, and when I work on Sunday, it means I need to get childcare. I'm a single mom, and I end up spending more money than I'm earning. This is the lived reality for more and more people, because economists tell you how many jobs they are. They're not telling you the quality of those jobs. So one solution for these two problems, the centralization of data and the diminished kind of dignity for workers around the world, is to give workers control over their own data. So one solution for this is the idea of an information fiduciary, which is in the same way that you have a doctor or a lawyer that has your best interests legally to uphold. Information fiduciaries, which are being proposed in the United States now, would operate the same way. If someone had a sufficient level of information about you, then they would have a legal responsibility to act in your best interests. And so with MIT, one of the projects we've been working on is thinking through how credit unions could do this for their workers. If you could hold in a credit union data about your work or about your personal data and then collectively bargain around it, this is a really powerful proposition. I can give you some examples of how trade unions are currently doing this. There's a group called Fair Care Labs in the United States that is helping home care workers set price, because they don't know often in different states what to charge per hour to clean somebody's home. And so they used a chatbot with about 80,000 users that helps them decide what the price should be for their location. In Scandinavia, unions are using data about hiring and firing patterns to actually predict GDP 3 months before the government does. So the degree to which in Scandinavia, unions are still very popular. And these unions have eyes and ears into the kind of labor patterns in the country. This is a really valuable data set, not only for them, but for investors and for governments too, should the unions decide to share that data and maybe reduce membership fees in exchange. They also actually have set up a mansplaining hotline. So if you get mansplained to, you can call in and report it. Or if you mansplain to someone else and you want to kind of confess your sins, you can call in and report that too. So it's just this kind of data source of information that you wouldn't want to tell your boss, but you might want to tell your union. And what we're prototyping is like, how could this work? What sort of vertices could we collectivize around? You can think about, the theme of Davos this year is mental health, right? That's what we're all here to try and improve around the world. You can think about collectivizing your sleep patterns. So if in an office of 300 people, all of you could put your sleep pattern into a secure holding that is not seen by your boss, and from that data you can find out that 80% of that office is not sleeping properly, then with that empirical information you can go back and negotiate, collectively bargain and say, why don't we all start work an hour later and see if productivity and satisfaction go up. So these are some kind of exciting opportunities that we're going to try and prototype in this the work I'm doing over the next 2 years. Finally, I guess the main proposition here is just to give workers a say. I think the trouble with the kind of AI ethics debate these days is it's kind of paternalistic. And I bring this to Davos almost sheepishly, but to implore you to try and let workers participate in their own solution, to enable them and to take strides to try and increase the dignity of this shift towards kind of gig economy work and zero-hour contracts, that unstable work. And so if you have any questions about this project, please do let me know. I'm in the back there, and I'm looking forward to speaking with you. Thank you.